I have another question from Pragati Gupta. F1 to H4 EAD processing can be tedious. That's what I think. She said expertise. So she needs the expertise to understand the process between how much time does it take from F1 change of status to H4 and then eventually apply for an H4 EAD, assuming the spouse has an I-140. What is the processing time, if somebody's changing from F1 to H4 visa status plus applying for an H4 EAD? Are there any faster mechanisms like premium processing? But what happens in regular if the spouse is also filing the H1B premium processing extension or something same time? Now some kind of timeline, um, uh, guesswork, or based on your experience, what could be, can you summarize certain items to explain this process?
So the problem with the H4 EAD is that it is taking time. The good news is it's not taking as much time as it used to be taking. They are processing them faster, about 6 months, 4 to 6 months. It used to take 10, 12 months before for them to process the H4 and the EAD. The best option is to file the H4 EAD along with your spouse's H1. So if your spouse is applying for an amendment, is applying for a transfer, applying for an extension, always file your H4 along with his H1, even though you don't need to. Meaning, even though your H4 is not expiring, just file it. Because when you have to file it a year later, it will take a year for it to be processed, or much longer. But when you file it with the H1, the processing time is cut down to the processing time of the H1 because they are processing both cases together. And especially if your H1 is premium processing, then it will be processed in 30 days. So that is a definite advantage of clubbing both applications together. But if you're not able to do that, since your spouse cannot file an amendment just because they feel like filing an amendment, right? There has to be some reason for them to file it. But if there isn't, and if the H1 extension is not coming up, you can only file an extension 6 months in advance. You can't file it before that. So if nothing is coming up, then you'll have to unfortunately file it separately. But the good news is it's not taking as long as it used to. About what I'm seeing is about 6 months, 4 to 6 months is the processing time.
Okay, thanks for answering. Now
And
this
there is no premium processing done, but we are expecting that premium processing will soon be available for these kind of petitions also.
Okay, so you heard that. If you option A is that you file your H4 and H4 EAD, along with your spouse's H1B. If it is filed under premium, you might have a better chance to, they get the H4 and H4 EAD approvals at the same time.